Hey, welcome back. You're listening to Get Down to Business. I'm your host, Shalom Klein. Something that I've been following in the news. It's impossible, in fact, to open up the news these days without hearing about active shooters, mass shootings in so many different places. But in the business community, I think it's something we need to watch out for. And joining me on Get Down to Business is my friend, Steve Alpert. Steve, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Shalom. How are you?
Fantastic. So, Steve, a lot of folks that have businesses, let's talk about the retail community, folks that have a storefront. Every day that they open up their store, regardless of what neighborhood they're in, they're a little bit at risk. Steve, I know you've been in the law enforcement space for a while. Tell us a little bit about how you would recommend business owners protect themselves.
Well, it's unfortunate that we even have to have this conversation, but everybody reads the newspapers, see what goes on. A lot of people will say, I don't think this can happen to me, and the good news is it's not likely to. The bad news is it happens, and it's happened in this country over 80 times in the last 7 years, where small businesses have been attacked by active shooters. Some of these active shooters have been disgruntled employees or unhappy customers. Some of these shooters are just random shooters who are just out to create havoc and kill people. Psychology says that they also want to kill themselves. Now we also have the other issue of terrorism that's come in. Issues that have happened in San Bernardino. Everybody's aware of what's happened in Paris. This has not hit the U.S. that hard at this point, but we have to prepare for the worst.
It's a scary, scary world out there, and we have to prepare. So what steps, Steve, would you recommend that business owners, whether they're in a retail environment or in an office building, can do to make sure that that a disgruntled employee, an angry customer, won't wreak havoc on their business?
First of all, there's no way of making sure. All you can do is put some preventive measures to make yourself what's referred to as a hard target rather than a soft target.
Mm-hmm. And probably having a plan in place.
Exactly. That's what you have to do. What you have to do is have a plan in place. What am I going to do if there's an active shooter situation? Our industry refers to an expression called run, hide, fight. And run means if you are involved in an active shooter situation, try and run away from it as quickly as you can. If you can't run, then try and find the best place to hide. If you can't hide, then unfortunately you may have to confront the active shooter yourself, not with a firearm necessarily, but by attacking him, throwing things at him. We don't recommend this, but sometimes if it might be the only choice you have, it's between him and you. But what I would tell to answer your question, what I would tell businesses is that you have to do an assessment of your location, determine such things as how is the lighting, determine do I have a place for my employees to hide in a situation, where should my employees go if they leave the area, to make sure that everybody's gotten out.
We're chatting with Steve Alpert, who's talking to us what to do in the event of an active shooter, it's not going to happen to most people. But the key is, as you're saying, Steve, you need to have a plan in place, and actually engaging that shooter should be perhaps a last resort. What about methods to get in touch with law enforcement? If you're in a retail environment, are there any good solutions that you've seen recommended, whether it's a panic button or some alarm system of some kind?
Yeah, a lot of companies are now putting in panic alarms. A lot of companies make sure that there's adequate amount of phones that are able to dial 911. Some are putting in alarms, panic alarms within the buildings, within their shops, that create a lot of noise, which disorients shooters. But I want to say that in a lot of cases, one thing that I think that businesses should do is, now this is a controversial thing I'm going to say. A lot of people in my industry there's a 50-50 split on if this is right or wrong. To make your target less hard, less soft, remove those no firearm signs off of your doors.
I've heard about that argument, and it's hard to walk around here in the state of Illinois, the city of Chicago, without seeing those little stickers. So you're recommending take those down because I'm guessing it for a potential bad person, you don't want to let them know that that there are no firearms over there.
Well, first of all, a bad guy isn't going to pay attention to any kind of little sign.
Of course.
And it's the same thing with these gun-free zones in school. What it tells the bad guy is that you're not very likely to
Steve,
get
we've got about 30 seconds remaining. I want to make sure people can get a hold of you. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you to follow up and learn more?
All right. I have a special phone number set up if anybody wants to call me with information. The phone number is 847-920-8456.
Fantastic. Steve Alpert, we appreciate your tips, advice on the subject, important subjects, making sure you're ready for an active shooter. Get in touch with Steve if you want to learn more after the break. We've got more tips.